ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division. We had two classes on the Sattviki Bhav, and we'll continue our discussion further. But let me just take a recap of the discussion what we had up till now, so that we can continue from there. Two classes, we began the discussion on Sattvik Bhav. There is Vibhav, there is Anubhav, and then there is Sattviki Bhav. So we first saw the definition of Sattva and Sattviki Bhav. And there are three types: Snigdha, Digdha, and Ruksha. Within Snigdha, there is primary and secondary. Primary is caused because of the primary rasas, secondary is caused by the secondary gone rasas. Digdha is uh, when it is not crossed by primary or secondary, it is not directly related to Krishna. Like Mother Yashoda seeing the dream of Putana, and then she developed a rati for Krishna and she was searching for Krishna. It develops actual rati following that incident. So that is Digdha. And Ruksha is for those who are not having Bhava, they exhibit that Ruksha. So all these three we saw. And then the causes of the eight Sattviki Bhavas. We saw this how when the prana, the emotions spring from the soul and interact with the prana. And prana with these elements, with earth, it causes stamba, with water, ashru, with fire, sved, and vaivarna, and with sky, pralaya, and with air, which is mild, moderate, or intense, there is romancha, kampa, and swarna bheda. Swara bheda, sorry, not swarna, swara bheda. So that are the causes. And then we went into the each of them, each of the Sattviki Bhavas. We first went through Harshat and then Bhaya. We also went through Bhaya and then Ascharyavat, that is astonishment. And then there is another example also given of Stamba. And then Vishadat. Vishadat is where we had, uh, I think, stopped in the last class, if I fairly remember. So each of the Ashtasattvic Vikars are being discussed, and there is scriptural proof given by Rupa Goswami. So we'll go with, let me check once again whether it was Vishadat or which we had discussed last. Yes, Vishadat we had discussed, right?
Right.
Yes, correct. Okay, so we will go through Vishad once again. Baka Sodara Danavodare Purata Preksha Vishantam Achutam Divisan Nikaro Visanna Dhi Prakatam Chitra Pattayate Divi. Seeing Preksha before them, Purata, that Krishna Achutam was entering Vishantam. Yes, yeah, was entering the stomach of Agasura, Dano Udare, who was the brother of Bakasura, Bakasodara, the Devtas in the sky, Divi, Divisan, Nikaro, overcame with sorrow. Vishanna Dhi became clearly like painted pictures. Prakatam Chitra Patayate. So there is the Arjuna Vishad Yoga, lamentation, sorrow, lamentation. And the Devatas also went into lamentation that seeing, Krishna is entering the stomach of Agasura. So they became fearful. So this is the reference given. And now we come to the next one. Amar Shad Yatha. Indignation. Indignation means, from anger, sometimes there is some types of, offenses, perceived, and, you know, the anger comes up, because of some injustice or some offense. So that is indignation. And that is a particular emotion, actually. It is a particular emotion, and one has to understand that emotion. And we saw this also, I guess, when merciless Ashwatthama, a Kripi Sute, became eager, Kartum Ichati, to shoot arrows, Pura Patri Moksham, at Krishna, Muradvisha, Arjuna, Kapidwaja, though hasty to respond to his enemy, Satvaropi Ripu Nishkraye Dhwaja, Nishkriye, became motionless for some time. Nishkriya Shanam Abhut, because of his anger, Rusha. So Ashwatthama is about to shoot arrows at Krishna, and Arjuna has pure love for Krishna. And Arjuna wants to, counteract or stop that, but just that love for some time, suddenly, he became motionless for some time. And this is because of Rusha, because of anger. Now, where this pastime is being mentioned, and I could not find even from the seventh chapter of the first canto. So I have to still work on it and find out and ask someone, devotees who have deeply studied the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where this particular pastime is narrated, or whether it is from the Mahabharata. Also, I don't know really. But definitely Rup Goswami is quoting, so it is a valid quote. And then Prabhupada also mentions the same thing. One is about Krishna entering Bakasukar, and then stunned. An example of becoming stunned was visible in Arjuna when he saw Ashwatthama was attempting to release his Brahmastra at Krishna. So very clearly it is there. Now we'll come to the next one, Ata Sveda. So there are these Ashta Sattvic Vikars, and we are looking into each of the scriptural references. I'll just go to the in yes, there is the Ashta Sattvic Vikars. There is Stamba is over, Sweda now, like that. Each of these eight, we are seeing the scriptural proofs of each of these, where in the Shastra it is mentioned. So let us now go to Veda. Veda, Harshad, Sweda, yes. Okay, first he defines Sveda. Svedo harsha bhaya krodadi ja kleda karas tano. Perspiration, Sveda, perspiration arises from ja. Ja means to take birth. Pankaja. Panka means, the mud. Ja means one it is born. So the lotus is called as Pankaja. Karma jam, buddhi yuktahi. You know. So ja is born or arises. Joy, harsha, fear, bhaya, and anger, krodadi. It makes the body damp. Kleda karastano. So it can, perspiration can be from joy, fear, and anger. And definitely our experience of fear, uh, perspiration is quite, relatable. Anger also, perspiration comes. When one is very angry, no? There is heat generated in the body. And the fire element with the prana will interact and that will cause. In joy, it's a new thing which I'm hearing, in joy also one can perspire. So let's go into each of these scriptural quotations. Tatra harshad, in joy, yatha. Kimmatra suratapam akshipanti mugdakshi chaturyam urukaroshi gyatam pura preksha saroruha kasam svinyasi bhinna kusumadayudena. O Radha with joyful eyes. Mugdha Akshi. Mugdha Akshi. Mugdha means joyful. Akshi means eyes. Why are you deriding the heat of the sun? Kim atra sura tapan akshipanti. You're deriding the heat of the sun and emanating such an amiable nature. Chaturyam urikaroshi. I understand that, Gyatum. You have been perceived, Bhinna, by the arrows of love. Kusumada Yudhena, for you are perspiring. Swinnasi, on seeing Pura Preksha, lotus-eyed Krishna in front of you. Saroruha Kasam. Just seeing Krishna, Radhana has become very joyful, and out of her joy, she's perspiring. Usually, because of the sun heat, one perspires, but here Radharani is perspiring, and her perspiration is so intense that it is deriding the heat of the sun. So that is how poetically Kavya is like that. Okay, Jiva Goswami. What is understood, Gyatam? It is understood that you have been pierced by the flower weapon arrows of Cupid. How is this understood? You are perspiring after seeing the lotus-eyed Krishna. For Lakshana, from the symptoms, it is understood. Prabhupada speaks the same thing in his commentary also. Now we'll go to Bhayad, the second. Among Sveda, Bhayad is the second one. Kutukad Abhimanyu Veshinam Rim Akrushya Gira Pragalbaya Vidita Kritir Akula Shanad Ajani Swinna Tanusa Raktaka. Bhir, for fear, Bhayad. Krishna Harim one time put on the dress of Abhimanyu for fun. Abhimanyum Veshinam. So Krishna dressed as Abhimanyu. His servant Raktaka. Now Raktaka and Patraka are the servants of Krishna in Dasiras. They are situated in Dasiras in Krishna Lila, thinking that he was Abhimanyu. So now Krishna is dressed in Abhimanyu Vesh. So Raktaka thought that it is Abhimanyu and not Krishna. Thinking that he was Abhimanyu, Kutukat called out to him using impudent words. Akrusha Gira Pragalbhaya. After understanding that he was actually Krishna, Vidita Kritir, he became very frightened, Akula. And for some time, Shanad became covered with perspiration. Ajani Swinna Tanu. So he became fearful, and out of fear, there was Sweda. He thought it is Abhimanyu and he, used some impudent words. And then later on he understood, oh, it is not Abhimanyu, it is my master Krishna. So he became very fearful. Okay. Jiva Goswami. Abhimanyu, one of the cowherd men, was the purported husband of Radha. However, Bhagavatam says, The cowherd men, Brajokasa, bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency, Mohitas Tasya Maya, thought Manyamana, their wives, Swan Dharan, had remained home at their sides, Swaparshastan. Thus they did not harbor any jealous feelings against him. Nyasunan Khalo Krishnaya. So this is maybe after the Rasa Panchadhyay, where the gopis who were married, they left when Krishna played his fifth note on the Vamsivata. So in their spiritual bodies, they went there. But in other body, they were with their husbands. So that's why they did not feel any jealousy. So similarly, Abhimanyu is a character in the Krishna Leela. Radha is so called married to Abhimanyu because in Vraj Leela, there is the Parakiras. There is one what is called as the wedded love, and the other is called as unwedded love. The Swakiya Ras is there in Dwarka with the Maheshiyas, but the Parakiya Ras, Parakiya Bhave, Vrajete Prachar. So all the gopis are married and they have a relationship with Krishna in conjugal love outside the marriage, which is considered the most degraded in the material world. It is the most sinful activity in the material world. But what is the lowest in the material is the highest in the spiritual. So in the spiritual, that is the highest rasa, and in order to Krishna relishes that highest rasa. So Radha is married to Abhimanyu, and that's how this verse has been quoted by Jiva Goswami to explain it. According to this end, it should be accepted that Abhimanyu was a creation of the Lord's Maya in the likeness of a husband. So it is Lord's Maya only. That's why it is mentioned. Manyamane tasya maha mayaya. Mohitas tasya maya maya. Raktaka is one of the servants of Krishna of the same age. I told you Raktaka is one who is in Dasras. Okay. Prabhupada. Perspiration caused by fearfulness was exhibited by Raktaka, one of the servants of Krishna. One day Krishna dressed himself just as Abhimanyu, the husband of Radharani. Abhimanyu did not like Radharani's association with Krishna, and therefore, when Raktaka saw Krishna in the dress of Abhimanyu and thus mistook his identity, he began to strongly rebuke him. As soon as Raktaka finally understood that it was Krishna in the dress of Abhimanyu, he began perspiring. This perspiration was caused by fearfulness. So, how many devotees have experience of the material emotion of fear, and in that fear we perspire? How many devotees have that experience? Raise your hand. Hey, one. It's a general emotion which everyone in the material world, is fearful. There is always fear in the material world, and fear. First time when I started experiencing, it was there before coming to Krishna consciousness, but within Krishna consciousness, and I happened to hear that fear is an emotion. That was like very, very revealing to me. Oh, fear is an emotion. So then I know how to process the emotion and how to, really use that to come nearer to Krishna. Ultimately, uh, Bhajaure mana Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanaravinda. Ultimately, we have to worship the lotus feet of the Lord so that we can become fearless. Okay, you can lower your hands, but if you have any questions, you can always raise your hands. Okay. Now, the third one, Krodat Yatha. So, out of joy, out of fear, out of anger, Krodh, Sweda. Yagyasya Bangat Ativrishtikarinam Samiksha Shakram Sarosha Garutmata Ganoparistat Api Tishtatastada Nepitor Angat Gana Nira Bindava. Seeing Indra, Samiksha Shakram. Shakram is Indra, who had performed 100 yagyas, showering down excessive rain, ati vrishti karinam, because his sacrifice had been stopped, yagyasya bhangar, Garuda, Garut Mata, though api situated tishtatas on a cloud at a distance, Gano Paristat became filled with anger, Sir Rosho Tada, profuse drops of perspiration, Ghana Neera Bindava fell from his limbs, Nipetor Angat. So Indra showered rains on Vrindavan because his yagya was stopped, and Garuda, the associate of the Lord, he was on the cloud at a distance and he became angry, and out of anger there was perspiration that is being described here. Being situated on a cloud implies that Garuda was present at a distance and did not participate in the pastime. So Garuda was observing this pastime from a distance. With the use of words api, viroda alankar, it's introduced. So there is, I don't know this Kavya Shastra, there is alankars, different alankars used. So this is called as a viroda alankar. Though Garuda was situated on the clouds, Ghana, which is already filled with water, water drops fell from his body. So you can see this is the Virod. How, there is already he's situated in the clouds and the clouds are pouring, but he's, water drops are falling from his body now. So this is a case of Virod Alankar. That's what in the Kavashastra is mentioned. Okay, Prabhupada narrates the same thing. Now, the next Ashtasattvic Vikar, that is Romancha. Romancho yam kilashcharya harshutsaha baya dija romanam abhyudgamas tatra ghatra samsparshanadaya. Standing of hairs on end, ata romancha. Standing of hairs on end, romanchayam takes place ja from astonishment, kilashcharya, joy, harsha, enthusiasm, utsa, and fear, bayadi. So four reasons: Ashcharya, Harsha, Utsa, and fear. Again, our experience can be more out of fear and then out of joy. So the transformations in the body because of hair standing on end can be these four reasons. In this state, Tatra, all the hairs of the body stand on end. Romanam abhyudgamas, which sends a thrill through the body. Gatra samsparsha anadaya. So devotees also must have experienced ratyabhas in the form of hair standing on end, maybe hearing some kirtan or intense abhishek is happening of the deities and on the festival days or in the yatra. So all this are not the real symptoms of bhava, but they are just a semblance. They are just a semblance. Now, for each of these, Rupa Goswami is going to give a scriptural proof. Tatra Asharvad Yatha. Dhimbasya Jimban Bhajatas Trilokim Vilokavailakshasyavati Mukhanta Babhuva Goshtendriya Kutumbiniyam Tanuruhe Kudmalitangayasti. Yashoda became astonished. Why Lakshavati at seeing Viloka, the heavenly, middle, and the lower planetary systems. Bhajatas Trilokim, within the mouth of Krishna, Mukhanta, when he was beginning to crawl about. Dimbasya Jimban, the creeper of a body began to blossom. Kud Malitanga Yasti, with hair standing on end. Tanu Ruhe. So Krishna showed the entire universe in his mouth. That is what Yashoda is seeing, and that is mentioned here. Okay, Jeev Goswami. Vilakshavati here means filled with astonishment. So this is Amar Kosha says Vilaksha means filled with astonishment. And Prabhupada also says the same thing. The standing up of hair on the body was manifested when Mother Yashoda found within Krishna's mouth all the universary planetary systems. She had asked Krishna to open his mouth wide just to see whether he had eaten dirt. But when Krishna opened his mouth, she saw not only the entire earth, but also many other planets within his mouth. This caused a standing up of the hair on her body. Harshad Yatashi Dashami. So Yatashi Dashami means it is from the 10th canto. Kim te kritam shiti tapo bhat keshavangri sparshutsavat fulkitang ruher vibhasi appangri sambhava urukrama vikramadva aho varaha vapusa parirambenena. O Mother Earth, Aho Shiti, what austerity, Kim Tapo, did you perform, Krim Te Kritam, to attain the touch of Lord Keshava's lotus feet? Keshava Angri Sparsha, which has brought you such great joy, Utsavat. Utsava means joy. Manava Utsava Priya. Manava means human beings. Utsava, the festivals. Because festivals bring joy. Asava. Asava means, it's a nectar. Utsava, Mahotsava, all these are same terms. That your bodily hairs are standing on, and Fulkitangi Ruher. You appear very, very beautiful in this condition, Vibhasi. Was it during the Lord's current appearance that you acquired this ecstatic symptoms? Ap Angri Sambhava or Va? Was it perhaps much earlier when he stepped upon you in his form as a dwarf Vaman, Urukrama Vikramad, or even earlier when he embraced you, Parirambena, in the form of Bor Vara Vapusha. So this is what from the 10th canto. Keshava means Krishna, Api means Kim. Thus the meaning is, or was it similar to the contact of his feet when Vamana placed his foot upon you? Or was it similar to the touch when Vara embraced you? No, these contacts have not produced your present ecstasy. So Prabhupada is giving some more insight. The standing up of the hair on the body resulting from jubilation is described in the 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with the gopis engaged in the rasa dance. During this rasa dance, Krishna disappeared all of a sudden with Radharani, and the gopis began to search him out. At that time, they addressed the earth and said, so this is the context, and the verse is the same verse. Utsahat yata, now because of Utsa. Hair standing. Shringam kelir anarambe ranayat aga mardane Shidhamno yuddho kamasya reme romanchitam vapu. When Krishna, Agamardane, sounded his horn during a mock battle, Shringam kelir anarambe. Aramba means to begin. Shidama became eager to fight. Shidhamno yuddha kamasya, and his body hair stood on end. Reme Rompachita Vapu. So this is Romanch. Among all the Ashtasattvic Vikars, which even as practicing devotees who are at very beginning stages of bhakti, who experience, which are the most common ones? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Which we might experience. Anyone? Bir Krishna Prabhuji. Okay, what about others? Yes, Bir Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, bro, it is romance, bro. Romance is.
Other?
And Swed also.
Pardon?
Swed. Sweating.
We dance in the kirtan and sweat. It is ashru, tears in the eyes. These are little more common, which the devotees may. Again, it is ratyabhas, it is not actual real rati manifesting. That one should be very clear. Okay. Bhayad. Now, the fourth. Bhayad yata. Vishwarupam dharam adbhutakritim prekshastatra purushottamam pura Arjuna sapadi shushya anana shishye vikata kantakam tanu. When Arjuna saw before him Prekshatatra, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, Purushottama Pura, as the astonishing universal form, Vishwarupa Dharam Adbhuta Kritim. His face dried up. Sapadi Shushyad Anana. Face dried up. Ananam is face. And the hairs of his body suddenly stood on end. Shushriye Vikata Kantakam Tanum. So his hairs stood on end. And if you study especially Vishwanath Chakravarti and Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary on the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what all emotions in each of the verses which Arjuna is experiencing, they quote the rasas there. They quote the rasas. So the more one studies the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and in that light studies the Gita and especially the Bhagavatam, one will be more able to relish, real rasa. Okay, and this is mock fighting, which is already discussed, and the universal form Arjuna. Okay. Ata Swara Bheda. So this is the next one now. Swara Bheda. But up till now, you have any questions, any clarifications till now? What we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Maya Narsimha Prabhuji. One second, I'll unmute you. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'm sure that you must have spoke about this, Prabhu. I just missed that. The beginning classes might be that when these emotions erupt in any individual in relation to Krishna, so they must be in favorable manner, right, Prabhuji? Otherwise, they will not be considered as bhakti rasa. For example, even Kamsa was very much terrified of Krishna. He was constantly perspiring and he was constantly dreaming about Krishna, etc.
Yeah, we will come to that. It will come to in the last section, the false forms of bhava, there a very detailed analysis Rupa Goswami is going to do. That when we come to that, we will look into that.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next one, Swara Bheda, the faltering of the voice. Vishada Vishmanas Vishada Vishmayamrish Harshabhityadi Sambhavam Vaiswaryam Swarabhedah Syad Esha Gadgada Dikrit. Distortion of the voice, Vaiswaryam, is called Swarabheda. Swarabheda Syad. It arises from Sambhavam, sorrow, Vishada, astonishment, Vismay, anger, Amarsha, joy and fear, Harsha Bhitya Adi. It causes convolutions in speaking. Esha Gadgada Kriti. Like Jagannath, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to call out, ja, 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 ja. He could not, call out the name of Jagannath. That is out of joy. Okay. Vaiswarya, distortion of the voice, and Swarabheda, broken voice, are synonymous. The use of synonyms is found in other definitions as well. Okay. Tatra Vishadat. Now for Vishad, first example. Vrajaragni ratat puro harim swayam ityarda vishirna jalpaya riyam enadrisha gurav api slagyantya kila rodita saki. O Queen of Vraja, Yashoda, Ragni, please personally, Swayam, take Krishna from the chariot in front of you. Rathat Puroharim, embarking for Mathura. Doe-eyed Radha, Slagyantya killer, has made her friends weep. Rodita Saki, by giving up bashfulness in front of elders. Riyam Enadrisha Guravapi, and uttering half of these words in a choked voice. Iti Ardha Visirna Jalpaya. Jalpaya means, choked voice speaking, uttering these words. So this is because of lamentation, because Krishna is leaving to Mathura. The phrase Rathat Puro Harim Swayam should be completed with the verb Rumu Nivartaya. This is something to do with grammar. Faltering of voice. When Krishna was going to Mathura on the chariot driven by Akrura, Yashoda and all the gopis came to try to forbid him to pass and to block his way. At that time, Radharani was so perturbed that in a faltering voice, she requested Mother Yashoda to please stop Akrura. Vismayad Yatashi Dasame, out of astonishment. Shaner Attothaya Vrijamya Lochane Mukundam Udviksha Vinamra Kandaraha Kritanjali Prashaya Van Samahita Savepatur Gadgadaya Gadgadaye Latetaya. Atha, then rising very gradually, Shaner Uttaya, and wiping his two eyes, Vimrijya Lochana, Lord Brahma looked up, Udviksha at Mukundam. Lord Brahma, his head bent down, Vinamra Kandara, his mind concentrated, Samahita, and his body trembling, Veputur, very humbly began Kritanjali, Prashavayan, with faltering voice, Gadgadaya, Ilaya, to offer praises to Lord. Elate Krishna. This is Brahma's prayers after the Brahma Vimohan Leela. Ilaya means with words. Elata means he praised. Faltering of voice, Prabhupada is speaking about Brahmaji, same prayer. Amar Shad Yata Tatreva. Preshtam Priyataram Iva Pratibhasamanam Krishnam Tadartha Vinivartita Sarvakama Netre Vrijja Roditopahat Sma Kinchit Samramba Gadgada Giro Ruvatanurakt. From anger, Amrshad, 10th canto, although Krishnam was their beloved, Preshtam, and although they had abandoned all other objects of desire, Vinivartita Sarvakama, for his sake, Tadartha, he had been speaking to them, Pratibhashamanam, unfavorably, Priyataram Iva. Nonetheless, Kinshit, they remained unflinching in their attachment to him, Anurakta. Stopping their crying, Rodit Upahata, they wiped their eyes, Netravi, Vrija, and began to speak. Sma, Abruvata, their voices stammering with agitation. Sam Brahma, Gadgada, Giro. So this is when all the gopis came hearing Krishna's flute, and then Krishna started instructing them on, Stri Dharma. So that is the impact the gopis had. So this is same. Krishna asked them to go back to their husbands and homes. The gopis became angry, and began to talk with Krishna with faltering voices. Harshad, Tatreva. Vilokya subrisham prito bhakta paramaya yutha Rishyatanoruho bhava parikhilnatmalochana Gira gadgadaya suta gadgadaya stau satvamalambya satvata pranamya murdhanavihita kritanjali puta shane. As the great devotee Akrura Satvata beheld all this, Vilokya, he became extremely pleased. Subrisham Prito felt enthused. Yutha, with transcendental devotion, Bhakta Paramaya, his intense ecstasy, Bhava, caused his bodily hairs to stand on end. Rishad Tanu Ruho, and tears to flow from his eyes, drenching his entire body. Pari Klinatma Lochana. Somehow managing to steady himself, Sattvam Alambya, Akrura bowed his head to the ground. Pranamya Murdha. Then he joined his palms in supplication, Kritanjali Puta, and in a voice choked with emotion, Gira Gadgadaya, very slowly, Shane, and attentively, Avahita began to pray. So, anyone knows the context of this pastime? What is the context of this pastime? Mayan Simarao, yes.
I think it is a context when Akrura went to bring Krishna to Mathura for the first time when he saw Krishna. He experienced this.
This is chapter 39. I feel this is Akrura when he was, he stopped at the Akrur Ghat.
Return.
Yeah, Akrura's vision, correct. See, it is from that chapter. So he saw Krishna and Balram, Krishna as Vishnu on Anand Shesha and Balram as Anand Shesha, and seeing this, he started offering prayers. So it is this, at this point, this verse is there. Okay. So now let's go to the commentary on this. Sattvika here refers to the great devotee, Akrura. That's it. Now this is the same thing, but okay. In 10th canto, 39 chapter, verse 56% of Srimad Bhagavatam, a faltering voice due to jubilation was exhibited by Akrura when he was shown all of the Vaikuntha planet resting within the river Yamuna. When Akrura understood that Krishna was the Supreme Personality God, he bowed his head to Krishna's lotus feet and with folded hands he began to pray in a faltering voice. Bhiter Yatha. I'll just read the translation. I said to your servant Patri, Tat Patri, give me that flute kept with you. Tvayarpitam vitara venum. Hearing my words, Shrutva mad iritam, the careless Patri, Trunam, suddenly changed color. Udirna vivarna bhava. And his voice choked up. Babuva Guru Gadgada Ruddha Kanta. O Mukunda, Mukund, because of his inattention, iti pramadadi, your fleet has been lost. Anena sa harito sti. Now again, in which context this pastime is, because this is not again, I feel, from the 10th canto. Patri is name of one of the Krishna servant, as is Raktak. So Patri is actually the servant of Krishna. This is all to do with grammar, so we will not. Harita stolen implies that the flute had been disappeared because of his inattention. Okay, now let us see if Prabhupada gives some additional insight. There are also examples of faltering of voice caused by fearfulness. One of Krishna's friend praised him. My dear friend, your flute was given to your servant Patri, and when I asked him to return it, he began speaking in a faltering voice and his complexion became yellow because he had lost it. Ata Vepatha. Vepayushya Sharire me Roma Harshasya Jayate. So Vepatha also we will see now. Trembling. Vitrasamarsh Harshader Veputur Gatra Laulyakrit. Quivering of the limbs. Gatra Laulyakrit. The body quivering due to extreme fear. Vitrasam, anger, harsha, and joy. Harsha there is called Veputa, trembling. So trembling can happen because of these three things: fear, joy, and anger. So when somebody becomes angry, and is pointing his finger, sometimes his finger is, there is trembling in the finger out of anger. So that's also emotion. Tatra vitrasane yatha. Shankachudam adiroda vikramam preksha vistrita bhujam jikrushaya avrajendra taneti vadini kampa sampadam adattaradika. When Shankachudam Preksha, with increasing display of his prowess, Adiruda Vikramam stretched out his hand, Vistrita Bhujam, to grab Jigrikshaya, Radhika. She cried out, Vadini, O son of king of Raja, have Rajendra Taneti. Because of fear, her whole body began to shake. Kampa Sampadam Adatta. This is the Shankachuda pastime in the Bhagavatam. Amarshena Yata, out of anger. Krishnadikshep Jatena Vyakulo Nakulambuja Chakampe Drag Amarshena Bhukampe Girirad Api Iva. Becoming unsteady, Jatena Vyakula, with anger, Amarshena, on hearing criticism of Krishna. Krishna Adi Kshipe by Shishupal Sahadev. Nakul Ambuja. Nakul Ambuja means Sahadev. Began to shake. Cha Kampe Drak, like a great mountain. Girirad iva during an earthquake. Bhukampe, like Bhukampe. He started manifesting Kampa. So this is the famous Rajasuya where Shishupal started criticizing Krishna. When Krishna was trying to capture the demon Shanka, Radharani began trembling out of fearfulness. This is the same. Similarly, trembling of body was exhibited by in Sahadev, the younger brother of Nakula. When Shishupal was vehemently blaspheming the Lord, Sahadev began to tremble out of anger. Now, this is out of love, you have to understand. Harshena yata vihasasi katam hatase pashya bayanadya kampanamasmi chanchalam upasidantam nivaraya vrajapate from joy Harshena. O foolish friend, Hatase, why are you smiling? Vihasa sekatam. See, Pasha, I'm not trembling. Kampamanasmi, with fear. Bhaye nadye, keep away. Nivaraya, the fickle Chanchalam, son of Nanda, Vrajapatestanem, who is approaching. Upasiditam. In this case, a contrary statement is made to cover the joy on seeing Krishna. You know, this friend is seeing Krishna and is trembling with fear, and that's why keep away, that is causing him joy, but it is causing the symptoms. So, a contrary statement is being made. That is how in Kavya Shastras there are narrations like that. Like, don't go to the bank of Govinda if you have attachment to family. So that kind of statements means you have to supposed to go. So something like contrary statement. Trembling of the body was exhibited by Ranani out of tribulation. Radharani trembled as she told one of the gopis, "Don't joke with this disappointing boy. Please ask him not to approach me because he is always a cause of all grief for us." Okay, now the next Ashtasattvic Vikar is Ata Vaivarnyam. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have few more minutes, but I would like to know any questions on this. I don't see that it's very straightforward and simple, but still, if you have any questions on this, any clarifications, any questions? Sri Lalita Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, not a question. I'm just thinking that this in 1.29 also Arjuna's quivering of limbs.
Yes.
Vepatu.
Vepatusya sharire me roma harshasya jayate. Gandivam samsrute hasta tvakchaiva paridiyate.
That is
So
out of fear.
that is out of fear. That is out of fear. And Prabhupada in that classic verses, he mentions Vepatusya. I'm sharing the screen. It's a good question you brought out.
Okay.
This is that verse. Vepatusya sharirame roma harshasya jayate gandivam samsrate hasta tvakchaiva paridhiyate. There are two kinds of trembling of body and two kinds of standings of hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. And Prabhupada says there is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident. He became so impatient that his famous Gandiva was slipping from his hands. Because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to material conception of life. So the mind is the pivot between the soul and the body. And the emotions manifest in the mind, and the emotions spring from the soul. Sorry, the mind acts as a pivot for the emotions to be exhibited. And when it is due to bodily conditions, the same things come up, the hair standing, but this is not due to the body. But when it is from the soul, the same mind acts as a via medium and expressed to the body, but it is springing from the soul. One is coming from the bodily concept, one is coming from the spiritual stratum. That's the difference between the two. I hope you got it clearly.
Yes, Prabhuji. When we are hearing some lecture and it touches us, then the hands, we get
That is not
goosebumps.
because of bodily conception. It is because of, it is because of Krishna Katha. And that all is, what is called as Ratyabhas, a semblance of emotions which are experienced. It's not out of Bhava, but just semblance of Bhava, which is called as Ratyabhas,
Okay.
semblance of Bhava. The real symptoms of Bhava, when one attains Bhava, uh, all the bhavas combine to give rise to rasa, but there has to be a stahi bhav. The stahi bhav combines with all other bhavas and gives rise to rasa, and that is a of uh, life of emotions towards devotion, a life of devotion with expression of only emotions towards Krishna, spiritual emotions. So stahi bhav is the main prominent bhav which has to be there in order to experience the rasa. So when one is not at the stage of bhava, because at the stage of bhava only one stahi bhav is revealed, and one is still a practicing sadhaka, and he might just experience this particular emotion, this particular ingredient of the sattviki bhava, and that's why there is no bhava actually, and that's why it is not classed as bhava. It is ratyabhas. There is a difference between ratyabhas or bhavabhas and false forms of bhava exhibited, like one is artificially, tears are coming from the eyes, he's manifesting the symptoms. One can take onion or take chilies, and try to manifest these symptoms. So that are false forms. That is most degraded, which the prakat sahajiyas manifest. But in relation to Krishna, it's the Krishna Kirtan or the Dham or hearing Krishna Katha, these are just a semblance of that Bhava Bhakti, and these emotions are our real wealth, which will sustain our practice of Krishna consciousness. So these are our real wealth. Okay, is it okay? Clear? Any other questions anyone has?
Yes,
Any,
Prabhuji, it's clear.
yeah, okay. Any other questions? Maya Narasimha Prabhuji, yes.
So, in case of the 11th chapter, when you mentioned in the Vishwarupa Darshana,
Uh,
so the Acharyas explained that the Sakyarasa transformed into Bibhatsarasa or
yes,
Adbhuta
yes.
Rasa.
Adbhut Rasa, Bhayanak Rasa.
So there also Arjuna was fearful, but here the fear cause is Krishna. So it is not exactly.
Can you speak a little loudly and clearly?
So here also Arjuna's emotion was due to fear by
Yes.
seeing God's ghastly form. But
Mm-hmm.
in the context of first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the standing of hair on the ends is because of his material absorption.
Yes.
So
So, yeah, you got it very clearly. Nice comparison. So, in the first chapter, Arjuna is put under Yogamaya, where he, in the bodily concept, starts thinking about his relatives. So, that's a bodily concept he is manifesting. But in the Vishwarup Darshan, he is not now related in the Mukhya Rasa with Krishna, that is Sakya Rasa. He is experiencing the Gaun Rasas. He is experiencing the Gaun Rasas. So, they are in relation to Krishna. So, then in one sense, it is Snigdha. Primary and secondary is there, no? So he's experiencing the secondary rasas, and within the secondary rasas, he's experiencing the bodily transformations. You got it?
yeah, yes, but thank you.
Okay. Okay, so there are few more, and we will continue our discussion tomorrow. There are some more after Ashtasattvic Vikar quotations to be given. And after that, the discussion is very, very important for us. It is very philosophical and a little technical. There is still Vaivaranya, change of color, Ashru, and Pralaya, devastation. So after seeing this, then we will go into intensity, the Dhumaita, Jwalita, Dipta, Uddipta, and Sudipta. And then the last section, that is false forms, Ratyabhas, Nisatva, and Pratipa. all this we will discuss, which is very important for us to know. Okay. So hopefully in this week, major portion will be completed, and maybe by next week we will finish the Sattvika Bhav and start one of the biggest portions is Vabhichari Bhav. There are 33 Vabhichari Bhavs. So that we will continue in discussion further. Okay, so thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti, Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hare Krishna.